Good morning, everybody. I'm Cindy Gatorna. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I sing in the choir, and believe it or not, I was president of the congregation quite some time ago. And my major involvement now is music, and with Marilyn Rampley, whom you also know, we lead a choir called the Threshold Choir, and some of you know a little bit about us, and some of you probably know nothing about us. What we do is we're part of an international sisterhood and brotherhood of folks that sing to people on the thresholds of life, mostly at hospice or folks that are nearing death, but we actually sing at all kinds of transitions, and we're here to sing for you today. So we found this amazing song that talks about tending fires, like our 3 campfires, and we'd like to teach it to you this morning. So we're gonna sing it through once without any help from the band, and then we'd like you to join in as best you can, and then very shortly afterwards in the service, we are going to sing it together. So pay attention and help us. And I want to say one more thing, and then Marilyn's going to talk, because I want to talk to you about singing, because everybody can sing, and we're not going to worry about whether you get the notes right or the words right. By the way, they're in your bulletin, so if you open page 2 on your bulletin. But singing is about spirit and soul and belonging in this case. So to be part of community singing, you have to sing. So join us, and we don't care if you have the right words or the right notes, just open your mouth and join us in our joy. Anything else you want to say? Okay. Everybody on page 2? Oh, the pages aren't numbered, so find "We shall be known." We shall be known by the company we keep.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the web. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Please join us. We shall be known
By the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Wonderful.
guys. All right, thank you. Little Tanya Tucker there, okay. Hey, good morning. Grace to you, peace to you, welcome to you. Welcome to Shadow Rock United Church of Christ. This is, we do our best to live out our core values of justice, inclusion, and spirituality. And thank you, Linda Johnston, for the quilt on the wall and the beautiful work there. And why we do our best to live out our core values of justice, inclusion, and spirituality. Honestly, sometimes we get it right, and sometimes we don't. But I will say this, that when we get it right, we still get in trouble. And when we get it wrong, we still get in trouble. So it is always an interesting and great place to be here at Shadow Rock. So welcome to all of you. I call your attention to announcements. Please take a look at what's going on in our church and the different things that we're doing. Please lift up in prayer the work of our congregation as well as the leadership of our congregation. And coming up in those weeks leading up to Easter that some church traditions call Lent, that's always an inside joke to myself, but we have what we call Journey of the Spirit. And Journey of the Spirit is a congregation-wide opportunity for us to be in fellowship and to study and to pray. And so that is coming up. Please take a look at that and look for those announcements and for those opportunities. There will be opportunities, we hope, that not only on Sunday morning before the church starts, but perhaps also after congregation meets on Sunday, and then also perhaps during the week. There's going to be an opportunity to look at movies, to look at excerpts from different books that are written, and so it's going to be a lot that's going on and lots of great conversation. So again, look for that, and we hope that you all make it a priority to be a part of the Journey of the Spirit leading up to Easter. All right. Well, again, I want to say welcome. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. You may think that it was your idea to get up this morning, to force coffee, and to get here. But perhaps there is something else, someone else. Perhaps it is the Spirit of life and love that is working in your heart and in your mind and in your life right now, that has brought you here so that we can walk together. We're glad that you're here, and thank you for coming. Right? Gordon, will you please call us together?
Good morning. Would you please stand and join with me in that liturgy of coming together? Let go of the expectations placed on you by others. Those expectations that we were taught to place on ourselves. Drop the guilt and the shame, not to shirk accountability,
but in honest expectation of the possibility of forgiveness.
Let go of the thing you said the other day. We let go of the things we dread next week. Be here in this moment. Breathe and sing.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth.
join me in prayer this morning? O holy and gracious one, we come to this place this morning to consider the theme of resilience. For some of us, it may be an uncomfortable experience because it reminds us of what we think we aren't. We've been rattled by the smallest things we're embarrassed to admit. We do our best to put on a happy face for those around us, but fear our masks are see-through after all. We hold these persons up to you, affirming that they are safe with us to be whatever they are. Help them to know that they can find strength to be resilient because they live and move and have their being in you. Hear our prayer, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen.
Join me in the gathering, scattering, and passing the peace. Generous God, enfold us in the depths of love and hold us there.
Renew, refresh, restore us.
Saturate us with the capacity to bounce back and be instruments of peace. In this day made fresh by the rising of the sun, may we embrace this day in hope.
Let us embrace each other in peace.
You know what to do.
Good morning, good morning. Oh, how are you?
Hey, are you guys having fun over there? Good. We want that. That's good. All right. Because I was told that we needed a little more energy from the music side to offset the ho hum academic piece side of the preacher creature. All right. So you guys are doing your part, and I can see if I can continue to be ho-hum. All right. What do you think? Can I do it? Yeah. I'm sure I can do that. All right. One of the things we've been doing for several weeks now is we have actually, this earpiece is not fitting right. We have actually been using a service, an order of worship that has a lot of the same pieces to it, but the flow of it is really meant for us to deepen our connection with each other. And so coming together and then doing this thing, learning something of value, really puts the pressure on. And I was very much aware of that when I put it in here, and we'll continue to do that. But we need your feedback for you to be able to say, you know, that was okay, that helped, or that didn't help, or that kind of thing. I will do my best not to take it personally. That's a joke, by the way. Is it? No, I'll do my best not to take it personally, and because I think that kind of feedback is important. So the word about life comes from two sources. The first one is Luke. It is a parable that we are familiar with. I ask that you would follow along, and I'm going to do a little bit of extra as we go through this. And Jesus told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. Now, let me stop. The reason he told this parable is because somebody came to Jesus and said, I want you to be the judge and make a decision for my family and I, because I am actually second in line with inheritance, and my older brother got all the inheritance and he's not sharing anything. And so Jesus is saying, I'm not going to be a judge on this, but it does make me think of a story. And so he says this story, and he's hoping that the man who had asked him to rule in his favor against his brother, he hopes that this man hears it. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. And this man thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops, which is not true. He had a place, because what you'll read in the next sentence is that he actually had a place and tore it down in order to build a bigger place. So he says, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. And then he said, this is what I will do. I will tear down my barns, and I will build bigger ones. And there I will store my surplus grain. And I will say to myself, doing pretty good here. You have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Kick back. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, or we could even say life said to him, you fool. You think you are clever. You think you can plan for every contingency as if you are in control. You think you can engineer out the chaos, the messiness and uncertainty of life. You think the ground, the crops, the yield, the surplus is all yours to do what you want? This very night, your life will be demanded of you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God, not rich toward life, not rich with love. And then the second reading is a haiku. My storehouse burned down. Now nothing stands between me and the moon above. I'm grateful for the presence of the Threshold Choir and the sharing of their gifts with us, and it is very appropriate that they are with us this morning as we continue to look at resilience. They bring peace and grace to people who are at the threshold of this life and the next life. They see the resilience of people who are dying, the resilience of the families who care for their dying loved ones, and they bring profound moments of grace to the dying and to the grieving process. So thank you for your calling and for your work among us. Last Sunday, I shared a definition of resilience from Andrew Zolli. Resilience is the capacity to maintain our core purpose and integrity in the face of dramatically changed circumstances. The fighter gets up after being knocked down. The tree bends but does not break in the storm. A dying parent still puts the welfare of their children first. A dying partner says to their soulmate, when I'm gone, you must go on and love again. These are all examples of capacity to maintain core purpose as a human being, to go beyond ourselves, and to maintain an integrity of wholeness in the face of dramatically changed circumstances. In addition to sharing this definition last Sunday and expanding on it, I also offered that humility is an appropriate way to be in the world. Admitting that we don't know it all, can't fix it all, nor prepare for it all. And this acknowledgement in and of itself is a tool for resilience. Life is messy. Life is chaotic. We do our best to mitigate uncertainty. We strive to build in safeguards to keep the chaos out. And like the parable, we build storehouses and walls to keep the security to ourselves. We do our best to tame every force of nature and prepare for every contingency. We may even get arrogant about how much we can do, and we can do a lot. Yet messy and hurtful change finds us. Messy and hurtful change finds us. It finds our families. It finds our churches, our jobs, our nation, and our world. Sometimes life says, "You fool, this very night, your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" Thus, the parable of the rich man who built bigger barns to secure his retirement. He was not in control, and so he was rich. But he was rich in the wrong way. He received the bad news that his life was not his own, and it was required of him before he could finish his plans or enjoy the fruits of his labor. What do we do? How do we respond when the bad news comes to us? Raymond Carver wrote a poem about this experience. Let me share it with you. The poem is titled, "What the Doctor Said." He said, "It doesn't look good." He said, "It looks bad, in fact, real bad." He said, "I counted 32 of them on one lung before I quit counting them. I said, I'm glad. I wouldn't want to know about any more being there than that." He said, "Are you a religious man? Do you kneel down in forest groves and let yourself ask for help? When you come to a waterfall, mist blowing against your face and arms, do you stop and ask for understanding at these moments?" I said, "Not yet, but I intend to start today." He said, "I'm real sorry." He said, "I wish I had some other kind of news to give you." I said, "Amen." And he said something else I didn't catch, and not knowing what else to do, and not wanting to have him have to repeat it, and me to have to fully digest it. I just looked at him for a minute, and he looked back. It was then I jumped up and shook his hands with this man who had given me something no one else on earth had ever given me. I may have even thanked him habit being so strong. Some of you have heard the terrible news. Sometimes you were on the receiving end, and sometimes you were the one who gave the news. The news can be about a terminal illness you have or a terminal illness your loved one has. The news could be about the life-changing accident or death of a loved one. Maybe your child went for testing and you learned life-changing news. On the one hand, you were devastated. On the other hand, relieved that your suspicions were confirmed and your questions were finally answered. Perhaps you were on the receiving end of bad news about your job, and now you're eaten up with worry about providing for your family. I know some people who were the bearer of such bad news, and then after they did all the hard emotional work for their company and did all the confrontation, they found themselves on the other end of the hatchet. You can walk into your office or your school, and the person who was always at a certain place at a certain time and brought a unique presence is gone in the blink of an eye. I want to acknowledge this loss and grief. I want to also acknowledge the amazing resiliency of human beings to go deeper and to go higher. The last lines of the poem said, at the end, he says the doctor gave him something. The poem says, I jumped up and shook hands with this man who had just given me something no one else on earth had ever given me. I may have even thanked him, habit being so strong. The doctor gave him something no one else on earth had ever given him. What is that something? Sooner or later, many of us will find ourselves in a doctor's consulting room, hearing bad news about ourselves or loved one. The journal titled The Oncologist has an article that encourages oncology doctors to use a memory aid to help them break the bad news to their patients. In training, they learn SPIKES, a mnemonic, S-P-I-K-E-S. S stands for setup. Set up the situation so it has a good chance of going smoothly. P, perception. Find out the patient's perception of the medical situation. What have they been told about the disease? What do they know about the purpose of the unfavorable test results you are about to discuss? I, invitation. Find out how much information the patient wants to hear. K, knowledge. Use language that matches the patient's level of education. Be direct. Avoid using medical jargon as it might confuse the patient. E, empathize. Use empathic statements to respond to the patient's emotions. S, summarize and strategize. This memory aid gives a doctor a way to give the news to a patient. SPIKES, S-P-I-K-E-S, is a helpful way for the doctor to share the bad news. It brings a kind of clinical precision to an emotionally messy process. It equips the bearer and receiver of life-changing news to be shared, and thus creates a platform by which grace and resilience can emerge. Now, this is a practical piece that you can hold on to, but what I really want you to experience is the wonder and the awe at our spiritual capacity to move from the devastation of life-changing circumstances to a place of wonder and gratitude. At the end, the poet again says the doctor gave him something no one else on earth had ever given him before. What is that something? The something is connected to forest groves and to waterfalls, mist on the face and the arms, and kneeling to ask for understanding and peace. Understanding and peace that surpasses our usual human peace and understanding. This something seems to be a sudden, keen awareness of the beauty all around, the love in our life, and the gift of every day. This something seems to be a sudden gratitude for all the things and for all the people we usually take for granted. This is grace. And so, the Japanese poet, in contrast to the parable of Jesus, not building a storehouse, but saying, my storehouse burned down. Now nothing stands between me and the moon above. This is grace. Amen. And now, let us rest and enter into the music of the Threshold Choir as we prepare for celebrations. Thank you. It was beautiful. Thank you. All of us live and breathe in the heart of the one who is beyond all names, with no name. So, as we live and breathe in the heart of the one, perhaps you had a birthday, you had an anniversary, your life goes on. If you had a birthday or an anniversary or you were surprised by grace, this is what we call a celebration of life. I invite you to stand and let an usher come to you with a microphone so all of us can share. So we'll start on this side, and then we'll move across. Reverend Don.
My name is Don Adams, and my wife and I have been here for the last 6 Sundays, and this is our commencement Sunday for this year. We'll be going back to Wisconsin, and pray for us, and pray for the people of the upper Midwest and the East in terms of much bad weather. I just was going to mention that I have a connection to this congregation that predates actually this church, and that is that I was a parishioner of Bill Smith when he served in the United Methodist Church. And when we found the connection to this UCC, we were very pleased. And another thing that a connection to this church is every Sunday of these last 6 weeks, we've hiked the trailhead and gone on the trail, the North Mountain Park. It's one of the things we did. And there's a connection with me. I'm from Phoenix, and I am a graduate of ASU, and
We have a saying here, Don, some will be sad and some will be glad.
And at any rate, I am very thankful that we found this church, and this is kind of our home away from home as far as a congregation, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate the people that we've known and have met and shared with, and I share Ken's vision of even more things to head, and I wish you well on that venture. And we also have a grandson who celebrated, what was it, about 2 weeks ago? The 15th, celebrated a very important day in his life. It was his sixth birthday.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Don. We will miss you all, and are you sure you don't want to stay a little bit longer? All right.
My name is Chris Robinson. My wife is Susan Sawyer. Susan's mother passed away on January 21st, and the Threshold Choir in Sandpoint, Idaho was there for her at the end, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate it.
Thank you. That's a great affirmation. Elizabeth.
Good morning. We are celebrating in the Spencer household our older daughter, Charlotte. Her birthday was yesterday, and now she's 5.
Oh, happy birthday. Yeah. Irene.
Hi, I'm celebrating the loss of my husband, and my 58th anniversary would have been tomorrow. Now, there's a reason why there's 3 vases up there, because it's the 3 people who we lost, who were very close to us, all in this month. And I'm sending pictures of the vases and the flowers to their spouses, and I'm going to ask them which was the vase that was picked for their loved one, and see what their response is.
Yeah.
My second celebration is last night I had the opportunity to go to the Scottsdale Center for Performing Arts, and I don't know if anyone knows about the Violins of Hope. There are about 15, 20 violins that were brought back from the Holocaust. One was buried. There's a lot of stories go around with it, but a very famous violinist came in to play the Auschwitz violin that had been reconstructed. It was the most magnificent and moving concert you could ever see. One of the most outstanding thing was, don't ask me the names of the pieces that were played, because I don't have much memory left, but they had on the backdrop, while the Children's Choir of Phoenix sang the lullaby that mothers sang to children, they had pictures of it. And it was a song about the love of a mother was the only thing that the children had left because the fathers had all been killed. And it is just unbelievable. And the reason I celebrated, I was really lucky because I tried to get tickets originally, couldn't, but I was on a waiting list. And she said, how many tickets do you need? I said, 1. She says, well, you have a very good chance of getting a ticket. So I got a call on Friday to go and see it. The violins will be, there's 15 of them. They'll be on exhibit at the downtown where the concert was held, and then at a church, Cristo, whatever, I don't remember the full name of the church. There's another concert tonight, and there's a lot of activities. The gentleman wrote a book about how this all occurred, and I am going to the book signing, and if you buy his book, I assume he will individually sign it. But it was an absolutely magnificent, moving situation, especially since in being a nurse in a Jewish facility, I cared for victims of the Holocaust. And the first time I saw a tattoo on a human, I was devastated. But today, I'm really celebrating that I had the opportunity to go and see and hear all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon Haynes, and we're going through a time in our family where we're reminded how messy life can be. So a couple weeks ago, I fell down while I was skiing, and I broke my arm on my dominant hand. But my mother came down from Prescott and has been helping me and taking care of me, and it got her out of the worst snowstorm that they've had in Prescott in many years. So it was a win-win situation. And then on Friday, Kelsey will be undergoing her endoscopic surgery to remove her colloid cyst in her brain. And I will be flying up to Denver on Thursday. And I know she's appreciated all of the thinking of you cards that you have sent, and I will keep you posted on her progress. And then to top it all off, on Wednesday, I will celebrate my 60th birthday.
Happy birthday.
So life goes on.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Alexander.
Good morning, it's Alice Ann. I'm celebrating my oldest, turned 44 on Friday. I can't believe he's that old, but then again, what does that make me? So.
Well, happy birthday. Steve.
Steve Merrill, Linda sends her regards. She is recovering slowly, but she's will be up and around, I hope, very shortly. And she appreciates all the cards and letters and phone calls and everything else that you've all sent, and the prayers.
Thank you, Steve, for the update. Thank you. Betty.
So I'm Betty Williver. This is my niece, Doreen Bowman, who lives in Schenectady, New York, and she's given me a delightful week this week.
Wonderful. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for being here. Yes.
Hi, I'm Philip Tackman. I've got 3 celebrations. One, last week was my wife and I's Shannon's 13th anniversary. The second one, my son Ben was accepted into the Honor Society over at Mountain Sky. And the third one is my cousin Angie was in the Thinking of You card. She had a biopsy, and the biopsy was okay. So
Good. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, beautiful.
Good morning. I'm Peg Heintzelman. I have a celebration and an update. Our oldest grandchild, Addison, turned 9 this past Thursday, and she lives in North Carolina, and we don't ever get to see her, but she had a wonderful birthday. And then an update about my very good friend, Harold Cummings, who is the spouse of my best friend, and he's like a brother to me. He had bilateral lung transplant surgery, be 3 weeks Thursday. He's still in ICU. His lungs are doing really well, but having been sick for so long, he was only breathing from about the top 15% of his lungs. So his recovery time is taking longer because so many of the muscles that support breathing, including his diaphragm, are very weak and having not been used. So that's an update on him. And the other thing is, I am my friend Evelyn's support person on record. When you have a family member who goes through a transplant like his, she is his number one support person, but they have to have on record a support person for her. And so the gist of that is I'm leaving Tuesday to be that support person. And I will probably be gone 2 weeks at minimum, but depending on his progress, it could be much longer. So I'll be seeing y'all.
All right. Thank you. Barb.
Hi, Barb Hass, and I am hosting Keystones next Saturday, and would love every adult that wants to come out to my house. But we're having a project every month to do service, and this month it's for homeless vets. So there's a list that went out to the Keystones. If you are able to bring something to support these needy folks, we'd love to have that. Thanks.
Thanks, Barb. Okay. Ed.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thanks.
I just wanted to check on
I do.
you.
Thank you for asking. I'm good.
Friday, March 1st, will be my daughter Barbara, the youngest daughter of ours, her 60th birthday. It's hard for Nancy to believe that since she's only 39.
Yes, absolutely. All right, thank you. Travis.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Travis Myers, and it's great to see you all. It's been, this is my third Sunday in a row after a very long absence, and one of the things I'm really grateful for is that I get to do exactly what I'm up here doing right now, and playing music and being involved with that. I've been making a lot of changes in my personal life lately. This is one of them. I'm thankful to the Threshold Choir for choosing this We Shall Be Known song, because one of the things that I do in trying to get ready for each Sunday is I listen to each song that's in the bulletin a couple thousand times each, and just to get on top of it. And this one really hit me hard, especially this week. Especially the words, "In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love." That really hit me hard, because this week I have decided to change careers. Yeah, I accepted a job at a new law firm. So in about 3 weeks, I'm going to be starting to do Social Security disability work, which is a lot of legal jargon for helping the poor and the sick get assistance that they need in order to live comfortably. And I'm really excited to get involved with that.
Travis, we're with you. Travis, I have a question. This is not the first time that your mother heard this, right?
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
Okay, good. All right. Jim.
Yes, I want to celebrate something that's in the bulletin, and that was that the announcement that my brother Tom had died. My brother Tom is still alive, but it was my brother-in-law, Tom, who died this past week. So one on top of another, brother Jack that died a couple of weeks ago, and now my brother-in-law. And I'd also like to celebrate my cousin's wife and her family for the loss of their mother this week.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Janet.
Hi, I'm Janet Williams, and I have a happy celebration. I'll be turning 75 this Thursday, and I'll be traveling to Tennessee and Florida to see daughter and granddaughters, who the granddaughters will be turning 23. 23 years ago, they were born the eve of my birthday, so we always have a big celebration. Thank you.
Friends, let's keep all these celebrations lifted up, carry them in us, carry them with us, and let us keep each other in prayer. Let's sing our celebration song.
Friends, as we bring our gifts forward, may our whole life move forward in good faith and with trust in a hopeful future.
Gonna rise up singing. Hallelujah. Gonna rise up singing. Hallelujah. Gonna rise up singing songs of joy. I'm gonna rise up singing. I'll not let the troubles of the world hang their weight on me. I'll just let those clouds go by. They'll not shadow me. I hold my head up high, reaching for the stars. I'm my refuge in the song I'm singing. Gonna rise up singing. Hallelujah. Gonna rise up singing. Hallelujah. Gonna rise up singing songs of joy. I'm gonna rise up singing. When the blues are knocking on my door and I long to answer, I remember how it used to sing. Now my heart beats faster. I hold my head up high, reaching for the stars. I'm my refuge in the song I'm singing. Gonna rise up singing. Hallelujah. Gonna rise up singing. Hallelujah. Gonna rise up singing songs of joy. I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna rise up singing. I'm gonna rise up singing. Yeah!
Join me in the dedication of our offerings and ourselves. And now we take our leave.
Before we gather here again, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity.
And may we remain together in spirit until the hour we meet again. These are the times.
We are the people.
All of creation is blessed.
May we love all and serve all.
May God be with you.
And also with you.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's stand and sing together. Let yourself go, let yourself go, release it free and free. Be the brave one who you are, shine on for all the world to see. When feeling low, down and out, nothing goes away. The darkness
going to walk you out today.
Just walking